Hi and welcome to my book channel. I'm Sarah and today I'm doing the reading habits tag. My channel's still relatively new, so I thought it would be a good idea to do another tag just so that anybody watching can get to know me a little bit better. Alright, so number one, do you have a certain place at home for reading? I actually have two places I typically read in, and I'll go ahead and show you those now. This is my little reading nook. This is where you'll see in the back of my videos, and this is sometimes where I'll be. And if I'm not in my nook, then I'll be here on the couch, and this will be the other place where I read, usually in the evenings. Two is bookmark or a piece of paper. I used to be really bad about using just a scrap of paper or a receipt or something, but a couple years ago I got this awesome bookmark from the school where I worked. I choose reading. I love Pokemon, I always have. So this is my bookmark. It's still in pretty good shape considering I think I've used it for a few years now. 3, can you just stop reading or do you have to wait for a chapter to end or a certain number of pages? Typically, I would much rather end on the end of a chapter, but sometimes you're busy, you got something else to do. I'll stop wherever, but definitely will stop at the end of a paragraph that makes sense. So I'm not going to end in the middle of a scene. I'll wait for a scene to be over, even if it's not the end of the chapter. Question 4, do you eat or drink while reading? I do drink. I drink a ton of water, and lately I've been trying to drink a gallon of water a day because I'm insane or something, but I don't really like to eat while I read. And there's nothing worse than getting a book from the library where someone has clearly eaten chips or something super messy and you have crumbs falling out on you. I hate that. 5 is multitasking. Do you listen to music or watch TV while reading? Not typically. I think if I had music going or a TV playing, it would just distract me. So if I'm in the same room as my fiance and he's watching something, I'll just try to tune it out. And it gets kind of annoying for him because he'll expect me to be reacting to whatever he's doing and I'm just drowning it out completely because I want to focus on what I'm doing, which is reading. 6 is one book at a time or several at once. This is another bad habit that I used to have. When I was a kid, especially, I would read anywhere from 2 to 6 books at a time. And I think it was really a bad idea because what has happened is I don't remember a lot of the books that I've read before, or I have a very vague idea because I think reading multiple at once, they just kind of mesh together. So I really make a point to only read one book at a time unless it's a fiction and a nonfiction because they're just so different that I don't find it distracting to read a nonfiction and a fiction at the same time. But other than that, no, one at a time. 7 is reading at home or everywhere. I mean, since March, I really haven't gone anywhere, so 100% reading at home. The past year or so, I kind of got in the habit of bringing a book with me to work so I could read on my lunch break. But other than that, I don't really take books with me. But I'm a homebody, so work, grocery store, and home is typically the only 3 places I go for the most part. 8 is reading out loud or silently in your head. Definitely silently in my head, unless I'm sharing something weird or funny that happened in a book and I'll read it out to somebody. 9, do you read ahead or skip pages? I never read ahead, I never skip pages. I don't really understand people who skip. I feel like sometimes people do that because their goal is, I want to be as fast as reading as possible, but to me, skipping parts of a book is like looking at a painting and covering part of it with a piece of paper. The artist or the author did not intend for you to skip over pieces. They intended for you to take it as a whole. So in respects to that, I do not skip anything, and if I find that there's parts of a book I really don't like and I want to skip it, then maybe it's not a book I need to read and continue. 10 is breaking the spine or keeping it like new. I would rather have a spine stay new, but it doesn't really bother me if they get broken. And I'm also somebody who buys used books pretty frequently, so if it's broken by the person who owned it before, it doesn't really bother me. And in fact, the one I'm reading now, I'm reading Blackwood Farm, is pretty broken here because this was a used copy. But again, doesn't bother me. And the last question, number 11, is do you write in your books? No, I do not. And if I ever find that I want to make a note of something, then I'll just put a little post-it note and write it on there. I don't know, I just don't feel the desire to write in my own books. Okay, that was the end of my video, short and sweet. Please consider subscribing if you like what you saw, and my next video will be my end of August wrap-up, and I do have a couple books that I did not finish, so I'd love to share those with you in my next video, and hopefully I'll see you then. Bye.